With every great athlete, there come several players that never pan out and completely fail to meet expectations. Whether it was the next big thing or a top draft pick who just completely fell short, there have been multiple instances where fans are promised bigger things than they ever received out of a player. Welcome back to our channel, where today we're going to be going over the top 9 biggest busts in sports history. Sit back and enjoy. First up is Greg Oden. Greg Oden was the first overall pick in the 2007 NBA draft and was touted as one of the best prospects entering the NBA. And unfortunately for Greg Oden, injuries would play a major part throughout his career, as he would only suit up for 84 total games. Oden did work rather hard to get back onto the court with the Miami Heat in 2014, but he was just a mere shell of what he was supposed to be when he entered the league. Next up is Jeff George. If you're wondering who in the world Jeff George is, you wouldn't be the only one. George was drafted first overall in the 1990 NFL draft and only put up 4,000 yards once in his career and was never selected to a Pro Bowl. George miraculously spent 12 years in the league, but was mostly used as an injury replacement for several teams. George did have a cannon of an arm, which is what so many teams were attracted to, but he just never had the accuracy. Now he's just known as a guy with 2 first names. Next up is Billy Beane. Billy Beane is the 5th overall pick in the 1988 MLB draft and was supposed to eventually become the Dodgers' pitching ace. Except he never became the ace for the Dodgers, or even close to it in fact. And Beane never made it to the majors and carried an abysmal 18-34 record with a 5.45 ERA in 9 seasons in the minors. To add a cherry on top, Beane was arrested a few years ago for selling illegal karaoke jukeboxes. Safe to say, he became a pretty big bust. Next up is Anthony Bennett. The 2013 NBA draft will go down in infamy for the Cleveland Cavaliers, along with a few other lottery teams. 2013 saw several busts in the top 10, including Nerlens Noel, Cody Zeller, and Alex Len. Yet none were as bad as the first overall pick in Anthony Bennett. Over 151 total career games, Bennett averaged a miserable 4.4 points per game and never averaged more than 15 minutes per game. To make matters worse for the Cavs, Victor Oladipo was taken with the very next pick in the draft. Cleveland does get some consolation, however, as they used Bennett in a trade that brought in Kevin Love, who would of course help them win their first ever NBA title. Next up is Rick Mirror. Rick Mirror was a reminder to everyone in the NFL world that just because you play at Notre Dame doesn't mean that you're going to become the next Joe Montana. Mirror was the 2nd overall pick in the 1993 NFL draft and had very little success. He had a career record of 24-44 with 50 touchdowns and 76 picks in 8 seasons. It's safe to say that the Seahawks learned their lesson when it comes to fighting Irish quarterbacks. And next up is Sean Abner. Sean Abner was supposed to be a multi-sport star, which made teams drool over him a lot more than a normal prospect. Scouts were under the impression that he would have much better athleticism than some other prospects. Unfortunately for Abner and the Mets, the former first overall pick really struggled to thrive in big games, never racking up more than 16 runs batted in or more than 3 home runs in his 6-year career, hitting a subpar .279 during that time. Next up is Darius Miles. Darius Miles joins a long list of terrible draft picks by the LA Clippers franchise. The number 3 overall pick in 2000 was notoriously known for his lack of effort on the court and his several problems off the court. He not only failed to produce with the Clippers, but 3 other teams in his 7-year career. In just 446 games, Miles averaged 10.1 points per game, 4.9 boards, and 1.9 assists. Miles is just another reason why the Clippers could never reach the promised land and still haven't for many seasons. Next up is Greg Jolly. Even if his name might bring a smile to your face, the first overall pick in the 1974 NHL draft did just the opposite for every Washington Capitals fan. Jolly was the first ever pick drafted by the brand new Capitals franchise, and his play would be a serious indication of how bad the team would be for years to come. Jolly only scored 1 goal in his 44 games his rookie season and ended his career with only 96 career points. Jolly would be the kickstarter for a team that didn't even make the playoffs until the 1982 season. Next up is Kwame Brown. Michael Jordan may have been the greatest basketball player of all time, but boy is he bad as a front office executive. Jordan decided to take Kwame Brown with the first overall pick in the 2001 NFL draft, and he finally found out what it was like to fail. Brown had little to no passion or energy every time that he stepped on the court, which is never something that you want to see from a top pick, of course. Brown would jump from team to team throughout his career and only averaged a measly 6.6 points per game in 607 career games. Well guys, that's going to do it for today's video, so thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss another video. We'll see you guys in the next one.